beautiful eyes as well. I've never seen her before. But what I will do as well a bit later, perhaps I'll have to post these photos onto the Sabi Sand leopard identification page, and hopefully someone, if we don't manage to identify her now, then maybe someone will be able to help us later. But it's quite exciting and it's amazing. You just never know when you're going to see what and who you're going to see, or who's going to come visiting from the north, perhaps from the Manuleti, or perhaps even from further south in the sand. Sorry, Rebecca, I just want to very quickly hear the names again. Raisa, and then the name of the male leopard that it could possibly be again. Vutomi. Okay, sorry, I'm sitting under the power line, so I'm getting a little bit of interference. Now, Raisa, you said that this could perhaps even be a male cub, Nkanyeni's cub, which will be quite interesting to see. Apparently he's got a 5-5 spot pattern, so maybe you can all get Googling or whatever you need to do to try and have a look and see perhaps if it is that leopard. Like I said, it's very difficult to tell from the tree, and if it is a young male, it's going to look very similar to a female leopard, especially positioned so high up in the tops of the tree. And this is where it becomes tricky. Like I said, even with the tracks, sometimes you could overlook a female leopard's track, and could even perhaps be a young male's leopard's track if you're not having a good enough look, or if you've been on holiday and you've forgotten all the different things. And that happens sometimes. It takes a few days to get settled in again. But this is so exciting. This is what I love, is that, and thank you so much for all helping, but we will eventually get to the bottom of this. Now, if it was a young male leopard, it would make sense that that wound on his back would definitely be from perhaps a fight, maybe unfortunately getting caught by a dominant male leopard and throwing him around a bit, if it in fact is a he. But it's not to say that it's not a female. We're very, very uncertain this morning. You can never be too prepared out here. Now, speaking of fighting, I know that Cindy was wondering, do the male leopards fight more than the female leopards? I think it's even between the two sexes. However, I have seen more leopard fights between females than I have between males. Remember, when you've got a big area, there are more female leopards in that territory, and the males are fewer and sort of far between. You might have one male for, it depends on how big and strong that male is and how much of an area he's able to handle, but a male can have up to 10 different females in his territory alone. So it's more common to have interactions between the females and seeing them fight, and I can tell you, they are feisty creatures. They really do bring out the claws, and they give a good meaning to a proper cat fight between two female leopards. I've seen males fighting as well. It's quite funny how they do that. I know the leopards that I saw was Shivonakele and Mashabeni. Mashabeni is the resident male, and he actually took over the territory of Shivonakele a few years back. This is down in the southern sands, and unfortunately they crossed paths again, and it was quite amazing. They were fighting at the base of a big knobthorn, and Shivonakele, who is getting slightly older, decided he needs to get out, otherwise he's going to lose his life to Mashabeni. And they've had quite a few arguments before, and up to the top of the tree Shivonakele went, where he sat there for 2 days. Mashabeni would not let him get down. Oh, there we go, she's having a look at us. Let's see, can we get any closer just to have a look at the leopard's face? Here we go, take some screenshots. This is going to be valuable information for us. I'm also going to try and get 1 or 2 more photos now that we've repositioned, so that I can also help in the identifying process. There we go, got 1, that's all you need. And this is going to be very, very exciting. I've got so much adrenaline pumping through my body. It's like a murder mystery sort of crime scene, but not quite that. It's a little bit more pleasant. We're just trying to figure out which leopard this is. Like I said, I still can't see who exactly this is, and there are a lot of new rangers coming into the sighting, so perhaps at some point I will have a chat with them and get their opinion. And hopefully between all of you watching and between me having a chat to the other guides, and hopefully we'll be able to find it out. Right, I'm going to have a little chat with everyone, but I think that Byron has bumped into some more lions.
So we've just the rest of the pride, but we bumped into this single lioness and the other male, the two of them that we think are potentially mating, and I think this is exactly the pair that we saw yesterday. It does look, it's definitely the same male, and I think it is the same female. It's a male with a very bad scar on the face. You can see it's amazing how these males get into these fights, and you see those scratches and scars all over the face. You know, even with the brothers, even though they are brothers and they patrol the same territory, you know, we saw with those lionesses feeding, if they get into carcasses and they are feeding, or if their females around, they get very aggressive with each other, and they always try to establish who's more dominant, so they do fight a lot, and you see those serious scars on the faces. Males from other coalitions, as I said, then you can get some serious fights, and these lions often end up killing each other or chasing them out of the territory that they are in and taking over that territory. Strength in numbers, that's basically what it comes down to. Still nice and cool this morning, and I think that's why these lions are still lying out in the open. There's no very harsh, or there's no harsh sun beating down on them, so it's nice and cool. They can lay out in the open. So we've been very fortunate with our lion sighting this morning. Feeding activity, cubs playing, bit of growling and interaction at the kill, these two wandering off. I was chatting to VM earlier, and he was saying it's incredible how lucky we've been with all the lion sightings since this Nkuhuma Pride has had the cubs. They've been seen just about every day, and that is fantastic. We really are very, very fortunate. It shows that this Djuma area, and that is ideal for them. They're able to hunt. There's a lot of food, there's water available, so it's a perfect territory for them. There's no need for them to extend their territory or move further or move away from this area. Can hear beautiful orange-breasted bush shrike calling. That's my impression of the orange-breasted bush shrike. So I'll see if I can do my orange-breasted bush shrike call again. You can just hear it in the distance. It's beautiful, beautiful call. Now, I heard one calling back, so maybe my call's good enough. And it looks like these lions are very comfortable and resting now. Not too much activity from them. We'll sit here a few more minutes. If there's nothing left, then, or if there's no activity, then we'll probably move on a bit. But I wonder if Taylor has managed to work out who that leopard is yet.
I have got wonderful news, and I'm sure you're all sitting, itching, bouncing around in your seats, googling your hearts out, trying to figure out and help me decide who this leopard is. But I've got confirmation that this is indeed Cheetah, the leopardess, who I don't know anything about really, and apparently about 10 days ago or so she was seen fighting with Salahashe, so that is the reason for the injury on her rump. Perhaps she was running away from Salahashe, so that's quite exciting. The Nchila female. I'd love to hear though how old she is. I'm not certain. I don't even know who her mother and who her father is. I did try and have a very quick look, and I have to say thank you to Elvis and to Ralph for confirming and passing on that valuable information. It's funny how it can be quite confusing at times to try and identify and keep tabs on all these various leopards, but unfortunately we also aren't going to be able to stay here for too much longer, as there are plenty other guides who would love to show their guests the very iconic leopard in a tree. Isn't that beautiful? It's one of my favorite things to see out there, is to watch a leopard in the tree, preferably eating something. Sorry, I've got a fly that is really persistent about trying to get into the various orifices on my face, but I am trying to cover it and so it doesn't go in there. Very aggressive fly, that one, but hopefully it's gone away. Hello, beautiful girl. So this is so exciting. Another leopardess who I haven't seen. We were chatting about all the leopards that I haven't seen yet. Well, now, Mike, you're wondering what territory is this female leopard in. It seems as though Karula has got quite a large territory. I think she's just edging on Karula's territory. Perhaps she, with her injury, she's had her tail tucked between her legs, and she is now racing away and trying to avoid the other leopards. We can also see Tundi along here. And of course Shadow. It wouldn't surprise me if the three of the leopards, Tundi, Karula and Shadow's territories all overlap slightly. So I think that Nchila is just sitting on the fringes. Like I said, I'm not sure where she actually even comes from. But isn't this special? That I'm so happy. It feels as though there's not a hole in my heart anymore, that we have finally managed to figure out who on earth this beautiful leopard is that's sitting up in the tree. I'm super ecstatic. We've got Shanae who's just joining us, so perhaps I'll be able to have a chat with her and she'll be able to tell us a little bit more. Look at her, now she's standing up. We'll sit with her now and just see what she gets up to. I'm going to snap 1 or 2 more photos for my leopard collection. No, she's just repositioning. Not going anywhere. I thought that perhaps she was going to make a descent down from this marula tree, but she's not quite ready just yet. That looks like a little bit more of a comfortable position. You see, not that this leopard is particularly unfamiliar with the trees. I've seen them dangling on the teeniest, tiniest branches and sitting in the smallest of forks. They're able to handle themselves quite well. Beautiful posing. I'm going to quickly ask Shanae how old she is. Shanae, how old is she? Okay, so she's almost just under. Okay, perfect. So I was very quickly having a chat to Shanae, who's on the opposite side, and she's confirmed that she's indeed quite a young leopard. She's probably around the same age as Sandile, so anywhere between sort of 1.5 years and possibly about 2 years old. Like I said, she doesn't look particularly big, so that's fantastic to confirm that. Sorry, Rebecca, I missed your question as I was chatting to Shanae. Fantastic. Karen, you have been an absolute superstar today. So this leopard is indeed about 2 years old, or just over 2 years old. And Karen says that she was born in 2000 and... Did you say 2014, Rebecca, or did you say 2015? 14. So she's indeed 2 years. Fantastic. That's very, very exciting. Now I will have to do lots and lots of research about this leopardess and make lots of notes on her, because perhaps we could be seeing her around a few times more. I believe she's been hanging around in Arathusa, and now she's slowly making her way, and hopefully her next move will be north, though she is going to have to be very careful, because I know that Karula is out and about lurking around somewhere on Djuma, and you wouldn't want to bump into her, especially if she's got her 2 young cubs. That would end not very well, I think, for Nchila, with Karula, of course, having experience and size on her side. Fantastic. But unfortunately, we're going to have to pull out now. There's lots of other vehicles that are absolutely itching to get into the sighting. So we're going to start making our way out. But I'm glad that you all enjoyed this. And wasn't it quite fun? I bet a little bit nerve-wracking at times, though. And with trying to figure out who on earth this is. But thank you so much for being so patient. But let's go back to Byron and see if his sleeping cats are still sleeping, or perhaps he's not with them anymore.
So we left that lion sighting. The lions weren't doing too much. They just lay around. There was absolutely no movement or sign of them moving. So thought we'd leave them. We can possibly go have a look later again. I'm glad Taylor managed to work out which leopard that was. Oh, hang on. Let's see. Let's see if we can get this lilac-breasted roller flying above us. He's calling, and let's see. It's a bit tricky. Oh, VM, you're amazing. I want to see if he does his display for us. He's circling us. It's not easy. And Carl, you requested a lilac-breasted roller. I'm trying to see if I can get the display. There we go. See, a little bit of a roll there. There we go. Watch that little roll. See how it stops flapping its wings, rolls, and then it dive bombs, and it goes down. Oh, fantastic. That is wonderful, and that's obviously how it gets its name, roller, because of that wonderful aerial display that it does. So there we go, Carl. You don't get a better lilac-breasted roller sighting than that. I mean, that is perfect. Well done, VM. Awesome, that was great. That was nice. Often when they're flying and they're calling, they've got that very, very harsh call. If you listen and watch them carefully, they usually do that aerial display. So our plan now is just to try and see what else we can find. I'm looking for some elephant. We had a brief glimpse of an ellie moving through or across the road into a drainage line, trying to see if we could see where they went, but they moved through some really thick stuff, so we couldn't get to them, and right in the middle of a drainage line. So we're going to carry on and see if we can find some elephant. A lot of tracks around here, crossing the road and that. Some impala. I hope all of you are enjoying this morning just as much as I am. And I mean, there's been a lot going on. Lion sighting is incredible. Leopard sighting, it's always fantastic to see a leopard in a tree. Also, while we're driving, I'm still trying to check the road for tracks. You never know, you could find leopard tracks along the road. Perhaps a big male, that would be wonderful. I'd love to find a big male somewhere. Hopefully over the next few days we do get to see one. Hey, aufschön, Djuma. Unjani. Jennifer has asked if I've lived in Africa my whole life. I have, Jennifer, yes. Born in South Africa and lived here my whole life, and been guiding and been, well, I've been fortunate. I think, you know, growing up, my family's always been always loved the bush and loved Africa, and we've gone to Kruger National Park and Botswana from a young age. I think I was about 4 or 5 years old the first time I went to the bush, so basically fell in love with it back then. And I've been in this industry permanently now for 11 years, which has been fantastic, and guiding permanently for about 7, so if not longer, 8 years, I think, yeah, 7 or 8 years. We've got some impala and kudu. Just try and get us a little gap. There we go. Looks like a young kudu there. A young male with the impala running past. Oh, look at those oxpeckers feeding on the ticks off that kudu. Yeah, it's a young male. Can you see those little horns? Still very, very young. And those little red-billed oxpeckers, those little birds that pick off the ticks that sit on the animals. You can see this young kudu got a bit wet with that rain. I think it must have had a little bit more rain than we did. Oh, nice. Lovely to see a young kudu. I saw a few more move off, just off to the right. So it is definitely part of a small group. There we go. There's 1 or 2 more. Also young males. There's a young male and a female there. You can see that young male at the back. Those horns a little bit bigger. So usually with herds like this or small groups of kudu, you don't really see them in massive herds, but you can have anywhere between 2 up to 15 or 16 kudu. In some areas I'm sure you'd get more of them together, but generally with herds or groups like this, it's females with the younger kudu, and you can see these young males with this adult female. That was off to the right. This is just behind that tree there. There's watching us through the leaves. Lovely to see a small group like this. And usually you find the big males, the ones with those beautiful spiral horns. They'll form groups, bachelor herds, and they'll stick together until they're ready to mate with the females. Looks like this elephant's pushed this tree over just off to the left. I see fresh elephant dung here, so it does look fairly recent. Let's keep scanning. Maybe we're lucky and we find these elephant. Some zebra tracks in the road too. We've actually seen a lot of zebra in this area over the last few days, which has been fantastic. I must admit, you know, I said it yesterday too. I haven't been here since about when was it, June, and it's always great to come back. But I've been so impressed with the wildlife and the amount of animals we've been seeing. So many different antelope species, zebra, giraffe, the elephant, the buffalo, the lions, leopard. Everything's been going on. So really a productive area for wildlife at the moment, which is fantastic. And I think one of the main reasons for that is possibly because there's been a little bit more rainfall in this area over the last few days or last few weeks than other areas, and we've been speaking about it a lot. But you can see the bush is starting to change slightly, starting to get some green grass shoots coming out. So what that then attracts is all the herbivores. They're coming out for the food, and that then will attract the predators. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons why there's so much activity here at the moment. So, sorry, VM just pointed something out. Did you see something there? That other one you want to check out. I wonder if it hasn't moved off. So we're in that area where we had that, there was that other female leopard, Shluva, yesterday. Let's just have a look around. I think she probably would have moved off by now, but let's see. Check carefully. I didn't see anything now as we drove past. And Bob and Laura would like to know if there's any threat or any danger of fires being started by lightning. Yes, definitely, especially in the dry conditions. When it is very dry, the chances of fires being started by lightning are very, very good. And I remember years ago in an area just south of here, we had some bad lightning storms just towards the end of winter, so around July, August, and we had to go out and fight some fires. There was a lot more grass, and when it is so dry, it's much easier for fires to start, and most of the bushfires are started by lightning. So I remember yesterday we were in this area, and that female leopard had moved a little bit down into this thicket, but I've seen a lot of impala walking through here now. There's a lot of impala, and it was just here where we saw her. So I think she has moved off. Yeah, it looks like it. There's a lot of impala. She'd moved a little bit from where she originally was, and she moved into that thicket, but there are loads of impala moving around here, and they all look very, very relaxed and calm. So I think Shaluva has moved off and probably finished that kill that she had. That little dacre, there wasn't much left of it when we saw it yesterday. So she either finished it or she lost it, perhaps to a hyena or maybe another little scavenger. So Jim would like to know if some of the scavengers or other predators ever use the alarm calls or the sounds of the alarm calls to move in on kills. Definitely, Jim, definitely. I can't tell you how many times I've seen where animals are hunting something, and especially animals like leopard, when they try and hunt, they try and grasp or get a neck grasp and grab that jugular to prevent the animal from screaming. They try to do that very, very quickly, and the reason for that is to stop it from giving alarm calls, because as soon as they start alarm calling, I've seen a hyena move through so quickly really move through so quickly and try and steal the kill from the leopard. I've seen hyenas move in on lions when lions are potentially trying to pull down a buffalo. That distress call, all those distress calls alert other animals, and that means it's probably there's potential food around. But especially with leopard, even cheetah, those predators are easier to chase off kills for hyenas, for example. If they're slightly outnumbered, even just one or two hyena will be able to chase off a cheetah and also a leopard. A leopard will try and avoid confrontation as much as possible. The reason for that is because they're solitary animals. If they happen to get injured while hunting or injured by another predator, they're unable to hunt for themselves again. So they've got to be so careful. And usually what happens is they'll give up a kill if they're outnumbered. But I have seen leopards stand their ground and growl and hiss and chase a hyena away. But there's potential food.
Is by far the most stressful morning I have ever had here at Wild Earth with this debate about who the leopards are now. I'm going to put an end to all of this. I've done my own research in the last 10 minutes. I've been Googling away, looking for photos, comparing photos, and taking what the guides have said, trying to put it into my brain and look it out. Now, I read a very interesting article while I was gone. Apparently, this confusion between Nkuhuma and the Ingrid female has now been going on for a few months, and a lot of people, unfortunately, have been posting photos of who they thought was Nkuhuma, which was the leopard that we were looking at, but it is in fact the Ingrid female. Now I'm going to just very quickly stop so I can just show you for comparison. Now the Ingrid female leopard, which is the leopard we've just seen, and I do apologize for all the confusion, nobody seems to know what they're talking about at the moment, but we've come to it, and thank you so much for always double and triple checking. You'll all make very good investigators, and I really do appreciate your help. But I'm going to bring my camera up quickly. I just want to have a little look. I want to zoom into this photo. Is that alright over there for you? Okay, I'm going to go right in. Now, if you have a look at the spatten, that's I think Jamie's word. She talks about the leopard spattens, which is the spot pattern. Excuse my spoonerism. On the right hand side, so over here, of this leopardess's face, you can quite clearly see that there are 5 spots, and they're quite unique the way they've got 4 on the bottom and 1 on the top. And then if we go to the left hand side of her face, you can see that there are 3 spots. The one at the back is sort of joined, and oh, sorry, that was me. My camera just decided to switch itself off. Sorry about that. It's on battery saving mode. And then of course there's the 4th spot on top there. Now this is indeed the Ingrid female leopard. Now the Nkuhuma female also has got 5 spots, except she has got 5 spots on the left hand side of her face and 4 spots on the right hand side. And her spot pattern, there's no spots above each other, they're in straight lines, so that makes it quite easy. So I've now read a lot of posts of quite a bit of confusion with these 2 leopards. So it obviously is in fact the Ingrid female that was seen fighting with Salahashi. I still have to do a little bit more investigation to actually find out who, unfortunately, the Ingrid female leopard had encountered, but I will do some of my own research and maybe perhaps phone a few people and get different opinions. It's very, very difficult out here, but I do have to say well done, Crystal, and thank you, Crystal, for your valuable help and input, because you did call it. You in fact said right at the beginning that this could perhaps be the Ingrid female leopard, and you were right. Now we need to try and find some more information about her, because apparently there isn't very much that's available. So perhaps we're going to have to get hold of Panthera and try and trace down her roots and see where she's come from exactly. But this is what it's all about, is that we make mistakes, but we try and correct them, we say sorry, and we move on. But like I said, I wouldn't have been able, sorry, the flies are getting me, I would not have been able to have done any of this without you. So thank you so much. It was a great learning process for me. I'd forgotten how difficult it was to try and ID leopards, when remembering that lots of different people post photos and unfortunately misidentify things. There we go, Aaron. I love your enthusiasm and your optimism too. Aaron says the only thing we were certain about that it was indeed a leopard. You are correct. At least I didn't call her a cheetah, hey? But isn't that funny? Right. Oh, lovely. I'm going to love you and leave you now just for a few moments, but let's go back to Byron, who's got a shongololo. But yeah, so that's why I was googling away and looking. But now what needs to happen is hello. Still chatting about the leopard and how we're going to try and get everybody else on one board, on the same board, and figure out how this leopard is, because we need to now let the other lodges know that there has indeed been an issue of misidentifying leopards. So perhaps we'll have to try and put a comparison picture, one of the real Nchila, which I saw that Brent has got a very nice photo of her, and then we'll have to get a picture maybe from one of the ones I've taken today of the Ingrid female, and maybe we'll do a couple of them, a little collage. I'm going to try and put this through and see if we can do something like that, because we need to try and make sure that we don't misidentify these very beautiful creatures. We give them names. We need to keep them to their own names. Now, we've just arrived at Chelepan. We're seeing there's no elephants like there have been for the last few days, which is unusual. I felt like this was my elephant go-to spot, or when it's been nice and hot. Right. Oh, I can see a monkey though. Let's see if the squeaky brakes haven't scared it away. Can you see that little monkey in the distance? Between the two trees? It's walking away. Where are you gone now? It's gone behind the trees. Go a little bit to the right. There it is. You can see that little monkey, a young vervet monkey, all on its own. Maybe we'll go around the corner and we'll see some more. Know where the rest of the family is. I'm sure they're doing what monkeys do, being mischievous. And I always think whenever I leave, it's one thing that I always forget to do is close my window, and I'm waiting for them to come through and steal all my goodies, which they are so good at doing. Oh, there's a couple more to the left. Below that fallen tree, you can see them moving in the distance. There's an entire family here. It's very difficult to see them, of course, now that I'm talking about them. They're hiding behind all the trees, but there is indeed a vervet monkey hiding behind that fallen tree. Let me go forward a little bit, see if we can get a better view. Monkeys, where are you? Come out. Well, they're doing very good at camouflaging themselves today. Just going to try and see if we can get a better picture. Nope. Hey, Darby, what's going on with the monkeys today? They don't want to be seen. That's okay. That's not a problem. I'm just having a little look to see if there are any more around here. They don't seem to want to hang around. Well, that's okay. We'll just have to carry on then as well. Now, I'm not sure what I'm looking for just yet, but I'm looking for really anything. And I was hoping that with that thunder and lightning, we were going to get a little bit of rain, because I'm dying to see some flowers. We've seen lots of morning glory flowers, but I've got one of my favorite flowers that I'm hoping is going to pop up in the next few weeks after our next downpour of rain, which is the lion's eye or roadside pimpernel, which is a beautiful flower. I don't think I have a photo of it with me, but I think it'll be better to wait and actually have a look at it. That'll be a nice flower to really look under the microscope with. Can you see that little dark-capped bulbul in there? Let's see if this bulbul is going to hang around. Can you see it just in there? Yeah. No, where are you gone? Oh, he just flew away. That's why I think you saw him disappear the back of your screen. Let me get a photo of it. It's a bird that we actually overlook on a regular basis and something that we don't always pay too much attention to. But they are lovely, very chatty birds, and they often become quite easily habituated, very much like the hornbills. I can always have stories of the hornbills coming through and stealing various goodies from the buffet table. They love to do that, particularly cheese. I don't know where they would have got their love of cheese from. Let's go bulbuls. We're going to go right to the front of the book. Bulbul. I'm going to need to get glasses. My eyes are not so good anymore. No, I'm just teasing. They're still alright. 312 or somewhere around there. And all my pages are all stuck together because I've had this book for ages. I'm going to show you what it looks like now. It's quite funny. Everybody laughs at me. You see how it's being held together by black tape? It has got no front cover on it anymore. It's just, no, it doesn't even have a back cover. There's some little bird counts. Can you see? I don't know which 21st of July that was, but there are 325 birds. Oh, there we go. From the 23rd of June 2015. Oh, I think I've definitely got a lot more, but let's have a little look at the dark-capped bulbul, which is this one on the bottom. Can you see it? Not a particularly exciting looking bird, but one thing I do love, and it's the easiest way to identify this bird, is the lovely yellow rump that you can see just sticking out over there. All the bulbuls have it. But a lovely bird, and nonetheless, not very big, and excuse me, they've got little tiny eggs too. They don't get very big, and they're normally blue in color. I've been fortunate enough to find one of their cup nests before, so they make a very little nest, sort of like that, which they'll make in the fork of a tree. It's quite a neat nest with grass and sticks and all sorts of nice things, and they have little eggs, normally not more than about 4 eggs. But let's carry on and see what else is happening down here. Ooh, lots of insects around. Now, James Richard would like to know, what is the smallest species of bird that is parasitized by the cuckoos? I do this every single year where I remember and then I forget and I have to learn the various types, but I perhaps wonder if it's not one of the sunbirds that are indeed, or maybe even a firefinch. Maybe even a firefinch. I think I'm going to go with a firefinch. I've said it 100 times now. James, I think it's that, but I'm not sure exactly who parasitizes the firefinch. Maybe it's a classes Deirdre's cuckoo, which we've been hearing a lot of. I'll have to do a bit of a check and remind myself exactly who parasitizes who. But isn't that an interesting question? It's something that I didn't notice. I must admit, when I first heard that question, I thought we were going to ask what is the smallest bird in southern Africa. That was the first thing that popped to my head. And that's something that birds that I haven't seen yet are the grey pendulum tits. So, but keep an eye out for those grey pendulum tits, which will be quite interesting to see. They actually make beautiful nests, and I was very fortunate to find a grey pendulum tit in the southern sands. It was quite beautiful. But I've got lots and lots of birds today. I've even seen some vultures, which are resting quite nicely up in this dead knobthorn tree, and they seem to be a little bit on the disappointed side that they haven't been able to start their morning just yet. You can see them sitting and grooming themselves, waiting for the clouds to lift, which they are indeed doing. It's turning out to be a beautiful day, cloudy but beautiful, in hope that some of those thermals will start to develop. It just looks like the white-backed vulture clan is here. Doesn't seem like anybody else is hanging around. Now, the vultures have definitely been well fed over the last few months with the Nkuhumas, almost killing a buffalo every single day. And of course they did also devour yesterday, it seems, that buffalo that died of natural causes, whether it was from the drought, perhaps it was sick, we are uncertain, but it is gone. So that makes me happy to know that the vultures and the hyenas and perhaps the jackals were all fed quite nicely. But let's continue and see what else is about. Look at all these beetles. Now, Calvin, you're wondering if there's perhaps... I'm going to jump out very quickly if you're wondering what all that clinging and clanging is. Sorry, it's like a bit of a workshop in here this morning. I've got all sorts of goodies. Calvin, you're wondering if there's perhaps a hyena around. You know, I'm convinced that there are only ghost hyenas that leave footprints, but we never actually see them. We see them at night at DRC when they try and come and steal anything that we've left behind, but other than that I haven't really been seeing them. Now, there's a mysterious beetle that Steph has seen a few times, and I think I managed to find some for James. I'm going to pick one up very quickly, and I don't know what they are. They're obviously in the Coleoptera family. Oh, there's lots of them. There's different ones. I'm going to show you a few. Let's pick this one off this leaf. Sorry, I'm just trying to be gentle. I don't want to harm them. Come off. And then you, beetle, you can just go straight onto my hand. Come here. You are very shiny. Right, I'm going to come up close to you. Have a look at this one that's on my thumb. I'm very dirty. I was cleaning the tent. It was running away, as you can see. Look at that. Beautiful, lovely green coloring on its body. Now, we're only seeing them on, sorry, just ticklish a little bit, on the spike thorns, which is quite interesting. I haven't seen these particular little beetles on anything else, and I've been trying for the last few weeks to try and identify it. I can't find it in the insect book that I have. Perhaps I need a more advanced one that is a bit more detailed, or I might have to even call on some help as to figure out who on earth this little beetle is and why. I'm going to go just put it down very quickly. You stay on my arm. Now we've got another one which is even smaller. Have a look at this bizarre looking thing. Can you see that? It almost looks like an alien. Can you see it, Darby? Okay. Oh, it's a funny looking thing. Can you see the little red spots on its back? Yeah. It's bizarre looking. Lovely. I just want to have a closer inspection myself. I think this is indeed a beetle larvae though, because at the moment it looks like something crossed between a beetle and a worm. The way that it moves, let's see if we can get it to move a little bit. It's quite strange. It's got little legs. It's not moving. It's alive, but it's camera shy. It doesn't want to move. So maybe it is a young one of these. I'm not sure. The mysteries that the bush has for us, and that's what it is. Such an amazing learning environment. Is that you just never know what you're going to see, when you're going to see a new insect that you're going to come across. It's so fascinating. But let me put them down, and you'll see me. I'm doing a little bit of a stomp because the flies are all over me today. Here we go, little beetle. Onto no, you have to leave now. Quickly try and do a catch and release here, but this beetle has decided that it wants to be my friend. You can go over there. You have to go back on the branch. Unfortunately, you can't come home with me. I don't want any beetles in my room. Let's jump back in very quickly. Ooh, it feels like that step in gets higher and higher every time, but perhaps it's all the running and all the gymming. Oh, I feel terribly stiff this morning. I almost couldn't get in, and that would have been very embarrassing if I'd had to ask David to reach out and give me a hand to pull me inside the vehicle. Right, it's very quiet today. I can't believe, I thought after all the thunder and lightning everybody was going to come out from their hiding places, but perhaps it is a Sunday. They're allowed one day off a week, I suppose, but it better just be for the morning. It better not be quiet this afternoon, otherwise we're going to have some problems. Now, I'm going to go reverse again because I'm having a delayed reaction apparently with what's going on in my head. There's a plant I want to show you. Yesterday somebody was asking about medicinal uses and all sorts of things, and I think I'm going to jump out again very quickly. I'm going to go to this bush willow. Ooh, that's not good. Bye. Vultures are flying away. They don't like me coming out. Now, it's a pod that we've spoken about a number of different times. Can you see? I dropped one. I'm going to break it off because I'm going to take it back with us. I'm going to bring it towards you. Now, this is from the russet bush willow, the Combretum family, which there are many of them. No, this is very old. Now, David, have you ever had the tea that is made from this tree?
I have not.
David has never drank the tea that you can brew from this beautiful pot, so perhaps I'll have to collect a few and take it back so we can make a pot of tea for everybody. Now, it's really, really good for you. It's almost very similar to the properties that Rooibos red bush tea has. So it's really good for colds and flus and things like that, just to help you sort of feel a little bit better. But this tree is also toxic. Can you believe it? You can boil it just like this, but you don't want to eat the seed that's inside here. Apparently that can kill you, and I suppose you only have one chance to test that out. I'm just going to take everybody's word this time. I'm not going to do the trial and error process. And something else that's really amazing, see if I can quickly crack it open. Now coming into these months, we're going to start to see lots and lots of birds, but I think I'm going to do we need to go to Byron? Sorry, I'm just quickly confirming. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this in a moment, but let's go back to Byron and see what he's got.
Apologise for their but I will.
Yeah.
Right, so
3, 2.
no. But you missed me so much, you had to come racing back to me. So let's get back to what I was chatting about, these lovely pods. So firstly, I forgot to mention you what the tea actually tastes like. If I have to describe it, I don't know if you've ever had rooibos tea, the red bush tea that we grow here in South Africa. It tastes like a combination of that and pine needles, if you've ever made tea from pine needles. So tasty, but possibly you wouldn't want to have 10 cups of it a day, but it's all right. Now, there is a bird that uses this tree, and hopefully we're going to start seeing them dangling upside down in the next few weeks. And that bird is the southern black tit, which is a black bird with little white wing paneling on it. And what they're doing, I find this thoroughly amazing, is that they're able to tell just by tapping the seed if there is a larvae inside here. Now, I've forgotten which butterfly or moth uses the bush willow tree, and I think it's those little caterpillars that we've been seeing over the last few days with Steph as well as with James under the microscope, and they'll actually go inside the seed, a little tiny larvae, and they live around inside the seed. Now, this bird, the southern black tit, will come along and tap it, and we'll be able to tell if it's hollow or not. And obviously, if it isn't hollow, they're going to crack it open and take out that delicious treat. Now, if I were to do it, let's see what's inside. I'd probably have to crack away at about 100 before I'd find one larvae. I'm trying to do it gently because I don't want to break the whole thing. Oh, I just flattened it now. Okay, let's tear it open. This is nothing. Not very successful, but we will try one more. Let there be a worm, let there be a worm. Just crack it a little bit. Nothing. I'm not very good. I wouldn't make a very good southern black tit. I think I would go very hungry and I would probably starve and die. Well, let's keep me as a human then. So that's something I'm going to be definitely looking out for into the next few weeks. Southern black tit jumping around. We're going to stop and we're going to watch it and see if we can keep up with it in its daily routine, because that is something quite special. They become incredible acrobats when they're dangling from the top of that tree. Now, right, let's carry on. How much time? I really want to go to the magpie shrike nest. What do you think about that, Darby? But I think we've got to go the other way around though, because I'm not sure if Lex is out this morning. I think him and his guest could be sleeping in, so we don't want to disturb them. So let's quickly go back the way we came. It won't take us too long. It'll probably take us exactly 6 minutes. Hey David? No, I'm just teasing. David the other day said that it was going to take us exactly 6 minutes to get to the beautiful cheetah sighting that we had a few afternoons ago, and I didn't time it. I wasn't sure if he was right, so I just thought I'd tease him. But we'll go around and hopefully that'll be quite exciting to see. It's been now about a week since I last saw them, or maybe a few days ago I saw them. You lose track of time when you live and work out in the bush. Everything is just so spectacular that time really does fly by, and it's hard to keep tabs. But we're going to go there. Over this little bump we go. Right. I'm still looking out for more nests. We've also got, speaking of magpie shrikes, I've got a magpie shrike sitting on the top of that tree over there. You can see it. I don't think the ones that were sitting on the nest, unfortunately. I think we're a little bit too far away. But nonetheless, a little bit of a fright. This bird is chirping away, perhaps announcing his territory, maybe looking for a mate, maybe singing beautifully. But I'm honestly amazed how that bird is able to sit on that thorny branch. If I were to wrap my hand around that knob thorn, I'd end up with lots of little thorns and pricks, and would probably be bleeding quite a bit as well. Aren't they lovely birds though? Having a little sneak peek of them. Well, this must definitely be a sign that we need to go to that nest and have a look. And I think before we run out of time, let's continue making our way there so I can actually have a quick look. Now, it's chatting about birds and different birds that I'm excited to see and who's still coming to join us. I know that Aaron is wondering if we're going to be seeing any more storks and herons. Possibly we'll see some more storks. Maybe we'll get a couple of woolly neck storks coming through. Something I love and what I absolutely missed is the saddle-billed stork, which is a beautifully colorful bird. I will show you a picture once we stop there, once we have arrived at the magpie shrike nest. I don't want to waste too much time now. But they're probably one of my favorite storks. Who else? I don't think we see the Abdom stork here. I think that's further north. But we may see some woolly neck stork. I haven't actually seen too many herons. I've seen the odd grey heron. I haven't seen any black-headed herons. I'm not sure if they even occur this far north, but they're quite nice too, the black-headed herons, slightly smaller than the grey herons, and you normally don't see them or associate them with water. They actually prefer to be out in the grasslands where they catch snakes and rats and all sorts of goodies. So those are quite nice to see as well, but very similar looking to the grey herons. And something else that I saw flying over very early this morning, and I presume that they were heading towards the community lands where all the cattle are, were cattle egrets. I love the egrets, especially when I was in Zambia. They were probably my favorite birds. They were the most comical bird out there, the way that they used to sit on the backs of the elephants and ride on their backs as the elephants would wade through all the marshlands. That was quite funny to see, and it made for a great shot. And you could see that some elephants were particularly more favored than others, because you could see by the amount of bird feces that they had on their back as to who they preferred. But we've got the tallest African land mammal up in front again. We've gotten to the point where we see a giraffe almost every day. Now, I know this giraffe. We've seen this giraffe before a couple of times. Are you going to stand still for us, please? Hello, big man. This is one of the dominant breeding bulls that we have in the area, and the reason how I'm able to identify him is because of that patch of skin that's missing just on his neck. If you go a little bit further down, there we go, you can see that patch of skin there. Now that is very, very obvious identifying feature for this male. I think that perhaps he had a bit of an itch or something and has kept rubbing his neck on that spot, and he's lost all the hair there. And I love the look of you can see he's actually got a little bit going all over. Maybe it's even from fighting. You can see that he's quite scarred up on his legs. He's definitely faced off a few other males in his lifetime. I'm going to have to just move forward again, just because he's disappearing around the corner. We'll get another view of him. Now, let's have another look at this giraffe. Virginia, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You're wondering if there's ever been any cases of a giraffe attacking people. Indeed, when I was down in the Eastern Cape, I think unfortunately somebody got killed by a giraffe, and this particular giraffe unfortunately had attacked a few people. And the problem there is because it was a hand-raised giraffe. It was hand-reared by humans. And you know, we want to try and interfere with everything, and sometimes it doesn't always go according to plan. Now, can you imagine bottle feeding a giraffe for the first year of its life? And even when it is born, it stands taller than the average male human at about 1.8 meters and almost weighs 100 kilograms. Even at that size, as wobbly as it would be, it can kick you, it can knock you over. Now imagine when a giraffe gets to 10 years old and has been spoiled by people, fed treats and bottles and all sorts of delicious things, and you decide to say no. That is when the problem comes in, because the animals are much bigger than you and they don't understand no. How can you give me something all the time and then not give it to me anymore? And that's, like I said, that's when the problem comes in. And I think it was just an unfortunate case of wrong place, wrong time, catching the giraffe on not a very good day. And this person, unfortunately, was killed by a giraffe. It's the same thing, like a giraffe could kill you, a lion could kill you, an elephant can kill you, and I can tell you right now, most certainly, an impala or a wildebeest could do a lot of damage. And that is why we have to respect nature and keep our distances. One of the most dangerous animals, though, I must say, and it's something that we're taught about when we learn to walk, when we do our trails qualification, is ostriches. Can you believe that? That an ostrich is an animal that we have to keep an eye out for, and we are honestly taught about amongst the hippo, the buffalo, and the rest of the big five. He's a lovely character, though. He's very much on the relaxed side, and he's an old boy. Where are you off to? Just carrying on with his day, gradually disappearing into the distance. Right, let's carry on though, let's keep moving. I want to get to that magpie shrike nest. I've been talking about it for the last few days now, and I have yet to take you there. I think today is a perfect opportunity to go around and have a quick little look and see how Mr. and Mrs. Magpie are doing. Let's go through here. But the bush is really just starting to come alive now. All the birds chattering away. Whee! Oops. Now we're not too far away. We're on Vulture's Nest at the moment, so we just need to get to Central, and then we will be right there when we get to Hyena Junction. That's where the nest is, in case you're wondering. And if perhaps any of the other presenters ask about where the magpie shrike nest is, you can tell them that it's just a little bit further north from the junction of Hyena Road and Central, and it's in a tambuti tree. But I do need to maybe try and leave a little bit of a bigger marker, because the marker that I've seemed to have left is the only one I seem to remember. Everyone else keeps driving past it. Just having a look as we go, always scanning. Oh, we've got some guinea fowl. We're having a really, really good birding morning today. Possibly not some birds that are new that could be added to your list, but it's still the same. Here we go, guineas. There they are. You can actually hear them in the distance. Aren't they funny looking animals? That blue on their heads is completely bizarre with that red helmet on top. Isn't that beautiful? Try and capture a screenshot of that when the guinea fowl puts its head up. That's really beautiful. I've always been desperate to try and get a photo, up-close photo of a guinea fowl, and I've never, ever been able to. Perhaps the opportunity is going to be today. I can only hope. But then they're coming right around us. Well, that's unusual. Now you can see how quickly they're moving in and out of frame all the time, and this is exactly why it's so difficult to try and capture a photo, is because every time you point a camera at them, well, it seems the one that takes stills, they race away from you. Look at that one having a little dig in some elephant dung. This is their favorite thing to do. You can see the one at the back digging open. It doesn't look particularly fresh elephant dung. It looked like it was quite hard and crusty on the outside, but you can see that as you head into the inside of that dung, it's moist. It's quite moist, so that tells me it's probably only a few days old. And the guinea fowl is looking for all sorts of things, any seeds, any little insects that are perhaps in there. And it's nice and humid, so I'd imagine that there are lots of insects around. Well, the flies are definitely around. They didn't take the morning off, which is unfortunate. It's funny how just the one guinea fowl is having a good dig and the other one is standing looking around. We're missing out on breakfast. I'd be in there if I was a guinea fowl, getting my feet dirty. I'd actually be fighting that guinea fowl off, trying to get the best spot. But there is, of course, no shortage of elephant dung around here, or any dung, in fact. Yeah, and off they go again. And you hear them all shouting in the back? Listen to that. It's one of my favorite sounds. Not at 6 o'clock in the morning though, on your weekend off, then it's not my favorite sound, but otherwise it's quite a beautiful sound. Right. Now, we're going to carry on and head towards the magpie shrike nest. But I think let's go and see how Byron is doing fighting off those gremlins.
So it looks like Taylor's been finding all the interesting stuff for the last half an hour or so. We haven't had too much luck. We're driving around. We've seen the odd impala here and there, but not too much activity around. And that's the way it goes sometimes. I apologize again. We had some issues with our comms earlier, so we couldn't hear FC. We wanted to show you a little millipede, but we just couldn't copy anyone. So we've had some gremlins, but I think they're sorted out now. They've been chased away. VM has been doing some dancing at the back of the vehicle. I think he's managed to get rid of a few of them. Been looking for elephant. I really would love to see some elephant this morning, but no luck just yet. Another herd of impala off to the right. Oh, there's a little dacre. Oh dear, little dacre, did you see that? There it goes. Brakes of the vehicle, I think, just startled it a little bit. But it is still just hiding through the bushes at the back there. Lovely, a little glimpse of a dacre. So Peggy has asked us how many different species of impala. Now, Peggy, I think you possibly mean how many different species of antelope. So there are many different species of antelope, and the impala is one species of antelope. But in terms of the amount of different species of antelope, I'm trying to think. In this area, I think there's around 10 or 12 different antelope species that we get within this immediate area. And let me think if I can name all of them. So I'll start with the largest. So the kudu, the waterbuck, what else? The inyala, the bushbuck, impala. What else have we got? Then the duiker, the steenbok. What have I missed out? That's only 7. There are a few others though. In other parts of the Kruger you might get eland, the largest antelope in Africa, and also we get wildebeest and sable, of course. Thanks, Vim. Do get wildebeest and that around, so that's another antelope. Sable in certain areas. I've seen reedbuck also in this area, just a little bit further south, but they are around. So quite a few different species of antelope. Driving towards a bit of a drainage line now. So Tammy would like to know, is there any chance that the impala associate, or some of the other antelope associate the vehicles, the safari vehicles, with predators? So Tammy, it's a difficult question. I think the animals themselves are a little bit nervous of the vehicle, definitely, and those antelope don't like the vehicles getting too close, but they don't alarm call or anything towards the vehicle, so they don't associate the vehicle with being a predator. Sorry, I just caught the smell of something now, and it actually smelled like leopard. Now, leopard has got, when a leopard scent marks, it sprays its urine on trees and branches, and often the scent that you can pick up it smells almost like popcorn, I'll be honest. And I caught a very strong whiff, a strong smell, and it smelled exactly like that. I'm just looking very carefully. Sometimes the scent can linger for quite some time, but it is a definite, and I've followed leopard enough to see and to smell when they do scent mark that very pungent, almost popcorn smell. I'm not going crazy, I promise you it does. And Tammy, getting back to your question, I think some animals, they may associate predators being around because the vehicles are often around predators. But it's actually very difficult to say, and I don't have an exact answer for you. I mean, I've seen hyena almost follow vehicles at times because they associate the vehicles with potential other predators or kills. Oh, there's another duiker. Hang on, let's see if we can get another glimpse. I've just moved through back there. The little duiker are very, very shy, and they tend to move off very, very quick, very skittish little antelope. We're going to continue our search for elephant. I think Taylor's at that magpie shrike nest. Let's see what she's got.
Finally, after me talking about this nest for I don't know how long now. I've managed to make my way here, and of course you can see Mrs. Magpie Shrike is sitting on the nest. Now perhaps if you haven't been following the story of the Magpie Shrike nest, I shall start from the very beginning, where Mr. and Mrs. Magpie Shrike decided to start building a nest. Now it's not the tidiest of nests, very much not like the dark-capped bulbul's nest, which I was telling you about a little bit earlier. They use lots of sticks here rather than grass, and it's a very untidy cup nest. You can see all the little pokey bits poking around over there. Sometimes they will line the inside of their nest with feathers as well as some leaves to make it a little bit softer, and it can take them up to about 5 days or so to construct their nest. And I'm sure though they're constantly making little tweaks and changes to it. Now I'm unsure though, like some of the other birds, if they reuse these nests all the time or if they just make a new one every year, but it is only Mrs. Magpie Shrike that sits upon her clutch of eggs, and I don't know how many eggs are inside there. There could be 2, there could be 1, but typically there could be anywhere between 2 and 6 little yellowy speckled brown eggs inside that nest. And I can't imagine those eggs will be too big. They're not particularly large birds. Now you're probably wondering what on earth happened to Mr. Magpie Shrike if he helped build the nest and now he's gone. He's got a very specific role, and a very important role that is that he needs to come back and feed this female all the time. That's how she's getting her food intake, is that she doesn't leave the nest at all. Well, not very often. So maybe as we sit here, we'll see Mr. Magpie Shrike come back with a little gift, who I'm sure Mrs. Magpie Shrike will appreciate it quite a bit. Now, I'm trying to remember exactly when I found this nest. I think it was almost a week ago now. And the incubation process of these eggs is up to about 19 days. I think I've seen Mr. Magpie Shrike. Can you see him just behind? We'll see if we can get a glimpse on the tree behind Mrs. Magpie. I don't know if you can see her. He might come towards us. You can see him. He's just bouncing around on the other side. There we go. Go up a little bit further. There he is. You can see his tail straight in the middle of your screen. There his tail. So it doesn't look like he's got anything though in his mouth. Oh, does he? Does he have a little? He's got a little treat. Can you see that? He's got something in his mouth. Now don't be greedy. You can't eat that. You've got to give that to your lovely wife. They are monogamous. So let's see if he flies towards the nest and decides to feed her. That'll be very exciting. We should hear a lot of chitter and chatter when he does come down. I'm just going to sit very quietly. I don't want my voice to be disturbing them too much, and let's watch this little scene unfold. He's thinking about it. Me and my cat would like to know this morning if the magpie shrikes construct their nests from the beginning, and do other birds perhaps use them too? I'm sure somebody else would come through, maybe something like a dove would come through and try and utilize a nest that perhaps has already been constructed. It seems as though Mr. Magpie Shrike has moved away. Like I said, I'm a bit uncertain if they construct new nests every year or if they just use the same nests and rebuild them. I haven't really read anything about that. I'll have to get my very big book of bird goodies that will probably tell me a little bit more about that, but unfortunately I don't have that with me. Now, Mr. Magpie Shrike flew off, and I think he gutsed whatever little grasshopper or whatever insect he had. Maybe he's gone off to find a bigger gift for his lovely wife. Well, the reason why I was trying to figure out when on earth I first came here was because I'm trying to get an idea as to when we're going to see these chicks hatch. Now, the incubation period is anywhere between 16 and 19 days. Now, she's at least been here for a week. Like I said, we could have missed her a few days before. But amazing. But this is a story that we're going to keep following, and hopefully we'll be able to see these new chicks hatch and grow up and fledge. And I'll definitely be coming past every few days to come and have a visit. But let's leave this lovely lady to incubate her eggs, and let's go back across to Byron, who's got a stripy animal.
It's unfortunately the zebra has just moved off. There was a lovely zebra and it moved through the thicket, so it's just disappeared. First animal we found in a while, and Taylor kept you away from me, so I'm actually quite hurt. Let's see if I can see it again. I think it's moved off. Yeah, it has moved off. But I heard something interesting coming up from ahead of us. Let me just switch off for a second and listen. It sounded like a scops owl. A tiny little owlet, about this big. Let's see if we can hear it. No, it seems to have gone quiet. They're very, very small and not easy to see. Bit of a bird party going on off to the left over here. Some fork-tailed drongos. There was an African hoopoe. That's the drongo. There it goes. It's interesting. You never know what little bird could pop up. There's the African hoopoe. Oh, that's a beautiful pose. Look at that. There's calling. There's a ooh, 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 ooh. That's my hoopoe impression. Not very good, I don't think. But that's lovely. I remember when I was younger, this used to be my favorite bird. We would sometimes see them in our garden in Johannesburg. And I used to love seeing these little birds. You see that beautiful crest, and every now and then they open that crest up. But now my favorite bird is the martial eagle. I love that bird. Beautiful, just a very, very large, powerful eagle. See all the little birds flying around. There was a little spider hunting wasp that just zoomed past us too. That's nice. That was a lovely shot of that African hoopoe. Beautiful bird. Let's see, I saw there's some oxpeckers up at the top here. Can you get them there, VM? So this is possibly a little bit lower down, I think. There they are. There we go. And they may be using this dead leadwood as a nest, or nesting site rather. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. The red-billed oxpeckers. So usually you see them sitting on animals, picking off the ticks, jumping on the backs of the various antelope or buffalo, giraffe. They love sitting on those animals. But I do think that they've used or decided to use this leadwood possibly as a nesting site. These leadwood trees are incredibly hardy, sturdy trees, so it provides homes for a lot of different animals. Squirrels love it too. I actually saw a squirrel run away as we pulled up to the side of the tree. Look at that. Just sitting there. Wonderful. Nice to see that. That's something different. They've just flown off now. So let's carry on and see what else we can find. We're doing well with our birds so far. That African hoopoe is still calling in the distance. It hasn't stopped. can hear a lot of birds, but it's sometimes difficult to spot them unless they take off and fly. So while I continue my search for birds, Taylor's got herself a little dirty, it sounds like.
Oh, sorry, you've caught me as I was just trying to catch a little nap over here. I found myself this beautiful big mud wallow. This is not a dinosaur footprint, and I just wanted to come and have a quick little feel and see what it was actually like. Now, I don't think it's particularly comfortable, but the animals do, and I suppose when we get a little bit of rain, this will be quite a nice spot. A little bit squishy, nice, and lots of mud over here for the animals to keep nice and cool in. Now, I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you today. Goodness, almost lost my footing. That would have been hysterical to see. Even I would have laughed at that. And thank you again for all your help with the leopard drama this morning. And thank you for being so patient. But we came to the end of it and we got a conclusion. So well done, everybody, for doing that. And I hope you had a good drive. So just from myself and David, it's been an absolute pleasure. And we look forward to this afternoon's sunset safari. But let's go back across to Byron, who I'm sure would also like to say goodbye.
And we found another beautiful bird. Look at this, a Wahlberg's eagle sitting right up above us in the tree. And this is fantastic. And this was well spotted by VM. And look at that. Beautiful, beautiful bird. And what a great morning. We've had a lot of activity. Predators, the lions and leopards. And loads of buffalo, but I've really enjoyed the birding towards the end here, and it's always nice to see these different bird species flying about, and really hope some of them are new for our viewers. Looking forward to this afternoon's drive again. Not sure what it holds. Let's see if we can find some more leopard. I need to find a leopard this afternoon. I think that would be great. And but yeah, this eagle is really just looks like it's quite well sheltered there at the moment. It's interesting, different species of eagles also prefer perching different heights of the trees. And Wahlberg's eagles, their nests are often right in the middle of the trees, and as you can see where this bird is perched at the moment, not necessarily right at the top, but just in the canopy of the tree. That was really, really wonderful. Lovely to see that bird up in the tree. And I'm hoping we get to see some more eagles at some point. And as I said, it's been a great morning. I really hope all of you have enjoyed it back home. Don't forget to join us again this afternoon for our sunset safari. Myself and Taylor will be out again looking for some wildlife. And we'll see what we can find. I'm looking for elephant and leopard this afternoon. I'll chat to Taylor and see what she's looking for. Thanks to VM on camera. VM, always a pleasure. And thank you to the ladies in the FC, Rebecca and Kirst. The voices in my head, as I like to call them, always talking to me. And thank you. Hope you've enjoyed it. And we will see you again later this afternoon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.